What's up, y'all? It's me, Tasha C, and tonight's video, or whatever, late at night. Um, I'm doing reviewing Being Mary Jane, episode 4 or 5, or whatever it is. It will be in the description box below. Okay, y'all. We got well, I do want to say this episode. There's hashtag platinum table. I noticed that in the corner. Okay. Um. Yeah. So let's get in the highlights of what I thought, or just recapping my thoughts on in this particular show. Um. Let's get the situation with Paul, that's the youngest brother, out the way. Because we see this young man, it's like he's still kind of young, he's juggling, he has internship, I guess, the architect company. I don't know if it's paid or not paid, might be not paid, whatever, I don't know. Or it could be, just not getting paid that much, of course. But they did some big sale and stuff, and they're about to celebrate. That was one of the highlights of his job. And around the time also while he's at the job, this chick, which I first thought it was Mary Jane's friend, who was calling and stuff, who was texting him, say, it was recommended by a friend, my vagina misses you. And then she's in a black bikini, looked like she took a selfie. And like I said, I couldn't see her face. And I'm why? Because I'm like, that ain't the doctor, is it? Is that? Oh Lord, y'all. Darn fingernail polish came off. Keeping it real. Gotta do in the morning. Anyways, y'all. So what happened was is that, you know, he once he graduates, which it turns out he's going to school currently now for architecture. He originally was going to school because he wanted to be a lawyer, wanted to be a lawyer. Now it could be either or. Either he's indecisive, or there are times, even I've done myself. Done myself, whatever. Once or twice. To some people, change their majors, or they want to pursue one dream and go for something else. So we don't know, but we do know it turns out he's selling to professional people on the side, and I don't know if he's particularly just having, because it said recommended by a friend. I don't know if he's particularly having an affair with this woman, or he's a cougar, or is he's quote quote pleasing. I'm not gonna say completely cougars or anything, but I'm just saying, is he also saying selling slong on the side too? I really don't know what's going on here. We just secretly messing with somebody. I don't know what it is, okay? Because I know he's selling drugs, but is he selling dick too? I personally, I'm still a little bit wondering as well. So fast forward, like I said, the job thing. He actually sealed the deal for the reason why they, are celebrating champagne in the break room and everything, right? And the man said once he graduates, he can have a job. So fast forward, his dad, um, Mary Jane's and then the Patrick's and dad, looks at something, I guess some account, maybe some joint account or some stock funds or something type of thing he invested in. He look and sees $78,000 in the account. And of course he asks him, and he's sitting there, okay, where all this money come from? He's like, I only have $7,000 in the account. That's just some bank error. And he's like, well, how do you get $7,000? And his thing was, I got a student loan. I didn't want to bother y'all for nothing, blah blah blah. But because dad is like, this is how you find out he was was going to school for a lawyer, now as an architect. He's like, first you're going to learn an architect. We're trying, we're there to support you, blah blah blah. But he's basically like, because it was questioned, like, I guess in this room or whatever, like, what you doing? I thought you just had one job. What the heck you doing, right? Like, he has suspicion, but he doesn't know exactly what it is. And he just like, pay off the student loan and just come to me next time you need some help. Okay? So we see later on, and this was kind of cool because besides the movie and so many episodes in, we never seen him going to any of his customers or customers. And he goes to this dude's house and he's saying, well, how do you find out something about his wife's shops or some code, whatever they're talking to Doe, right? And, not talking anybody race, but it was some professional, and it was just this man, and he comes in and he's giving him some code. I don't know if it was weed or something else, or purple haze, but he did give us some joints, like on the house, since you're a fresh customer. And I kind of felt a little suspicious about that right there, because like I said, they never showed him any customers. He gave him the $300 for the stuff, so it just seemed like all of something him to them to show his customer, like flat out do a transaction. It just seemed like something was about to be up, because we already seen the previews about the possibility of you know uh the police were after him or was being investigated. So it just seemed like, it's, one of them operations, and, basically there's a cop undercover, a detective, whatever, undercover. So anyways, he does transaction shell, and later on we're at this gala, which is like the second or the main part towards the end of this whole episode. The chick that was in the photo comes to the table, because, they're one of the biggest sponsors of this particular charity organization at the Platinum Table, which I talked about the Platinum Table that they rented out or whatever, got for this event, which cost some coins. And she sees him, and then she just, as soon as he says hi, she's, oh, okay, anyways, or whatever, just kind of avoids him. It just, I think talks him out, just fades away. And then he talks a little later on. He was like, "You at least could have gave me a high." And she just kind of turns to him, but they never. I guess they started interacting secretly, but she didn't walk away from him then. I don't know. She stayed. And so, anyways, um, you end up seeing later on about this whole thing. Let's get into the Platinum Table first, and then Mary Jane and her mess as usual. The mom comes in there. She seems to do a lot. She's starting to go out more. She's starting to feel better now. Happy she got the bitches out my house, because that's pretty much what she obviously thought about Tracy in the first place. Okay. Um, like I said, we know this Mary Jane comes from family, they got some knowledge, whatever, you know what I'm saying? She ain't got a dumb family, you know what I'm saying? Even though, like I say, even Patrick, before, unfortunately the addiction took over his life, he was running a successful club company, about to run that, that club business and stuff. So, like I said, all of them, besides the little brother making mess us, whatever, as far as the siblings and both her parents, I don't know where her dad, I forgot where her dad tired from, but they all, and, the mom was a teacher, but, they come from family, they got this up here, as far, so, the mom, who is telling the husband first, she was saying something about, I wanted the Platinum Table, whatever, and then because the two boys, and I think Patrick's grandson, I think the grandchild was there, and they were playing. And once they realized mom was a little bit mad, they got off the table. She tells the husband, whatever, that she wants the Platinum Table, stuff like that, because she's like, I've been sacrificing her, I've been sick, I'm sacrificing all these kids ain't mine, kids they damn near supposed to get out there in the house, and these grandkids, stuff like that. I'm getting better health, and I'm starting to want to get out. I want something for us, just is once. That's all I want. I'm sick and tired of making excuses, claiming out of the house, about financial, all this stuff, and fixing up the house and everything else, right? So she sits there, and he figures, I guess, agrees, or they don't show. So he ends up talking to the same lady. What is her name? Carlin Cannon, whatever. I'm still your man if I can. Lady from, what is the second or third episode, that ends up going to see the mom, but she was sitting up there with the dad. When the dad and Mary Jane were having dinner, and I think her name was Carlin or Caroline or whatever her name was. And he's talking to her because it turns out she has the Platinum Table, and he's even trying to pay the difference and trying to get the Platinum Table for her. And she's like, I like the table, stuff like that myself. And then she's like, well, what? Okay, darn well it ain't about the money thing. When you gonna give me what I want? And first I thought she wanted the shaft. And no pun intended, but Richard Roundtree, we all know, was Shaft. Complicated man, but nobody understand by one of them, okay? So the Shaft, literally the character in the anyway, so they kind of end scene. So they don't go back to that till later. And after the table and stuff like that, where at, she comes up there and asks for the dad to dance. And the mom does this, the hand to block her when at the knees block her. And she does this. What are you doing? And he's just like, well, you won the Platinum Table, so she lets him go and lets him dance. Mary Jane spots like, okay, this heifer's trying to get my daddy, and goes to mom and it's like, what are you doing? Blah blah blah. And then she figures out, I guess figures out or whatever. I think the mom told her, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I forgot, but she figures out that dad is getting the Platinum Table, literally. And she's just like, you know what? You pimping out daddy. You know that, don't you? And she's just like, go get your dad. Go get daddy. She basically like, and she's just like, I got this. And who know? She might have strategically planned this, like she has done other things, like planted it turned out she did plant that bracelet purposely so she get rid of Tracy out the house. Now, if I got to mention to clear up um about when she was talking about Mark and stuff like that, she was like Mark could take out to see if that guy Carl Kara was messing with was gay and stuff like that to test it out if he was gay or not. And that's what she was referring to about the dude there. Okay, anyways, so she goes up, dances, so she was able to basically get a platinum table. She was able to get less than 2 seconds to dance with her husband, and then they just danced or whatever the case is. So that might have been planned. But what if she wanted something more than that? I don't know. Would Dad take the bait? I don't know. But I'm just saying. It was suspicion toward the last scene that she really at least want to dance. Yeah, I guess that's what she wants for now. Anyways, so fast forward. Of course, we all know the Mary Jane issue. Now, we always know there's drama behind the job and on the job with a specific article that connects every episode, right? So, um, we're dealing with the beginning with her and Andre, and they're lovely, the functional, happily ever after. They're going to look like a loft apartment, whatever, whatever. And it turns out, it's kind of big, but you can tell still needs some stuff to be fixed around. And it turns out that the woman says she can't get it fixed, until next month. And she's like, well, we have some more properties you can look at till next month. And he's like, whoa. Before then, when they were talking, he said, remember when I met you? You just met me because of my job. When Mary Jane was saying that, just doing all this darn flirting. You just saying I met her, Jim, blah, blah, blah. And then he was talking about he was about to get this place and she can finally start visiting him over there, you know. And then she was about to thank him about I guess screw him or whatever. She started unbuckling her blouse. But unfortunately, here comes the realtor coming there. And so she had to turn around and close it up. And then the realtor explained the bad news. So I swear to violent stories. And he's just like this. And she's asking, what's wrong with, because she's like, he could look for another place. And then he asked the realtor to look to the side, can we have a moment? And he just let her know, like, you know what, yeah, I could, I wanted to get out and move into my own place. But, I'm gonna have to stay in some hotel rooms and stuff like that for a time off, whatever. I guess I can do that. And then she invites him that he can stay at her house. Yay! Everybody wins. So, anyways, next minute you see a couple of briefcases later on. And she's moving, this is one of the interesting things she has. She has all these post-its of all these quotes from famous, people like authors, scientists like Albert Einstein, I think like Alice Walker and all these quotes. And these quotes, I guess we see throughout, usually beginning of the episode, like with one quote or something, or Bob Marley. There's all these perm quotes for all these famous different people who made like these interesting, but, interesting quotes. But they make you think. So, she is trying to move all the posters. I think there was a Duke shirt, so I don't know if it was David, some other dudes, whatever. But she was starting to clean up everything that was on its way there. And it seemed like, I think the next day or something, when he stayed there, and after the next morning, good morning, what a wonderful day. And he finds actually the posters, so she didn't get rid of them in time. And then she just was saying, oh, there's some quotes from work. And he just saying, well, don't you have somewhere else you can like put them on, they don't, you don't have to put on posters. And then she admitted like, well, she didn't want to tell him because it made her, it just would seem a little bit weird. And he's just like, oh, like make you seem you crazy. Oh, there's nothing wrong. You be crazy. Put them on. You can put them on the window. You can put them on there. You can put them on. You can put them on the bed for all I care. Okay. So post on the bed rails. He just didn't care about where it was. But she felt happy and then she started posting them on, her glass house. You can see all the way. Girl, get some blinds. Anyway, so he sat there and he was helping her and she wanted to see could they meet up, but he had to go do some soccer or some game with his son, and she had to get ready to do some gal thing, stuff like that, right? So I think later on or something like that, another scene with them. She wanted him to go to the gala. Yeah, it was later on after this news scene we're about to get into it. He can't go with her because it's like, okay, it's already bad enough I'm divorcing my wife, but it's a little too fresh and too soon to me be seen with you and stuff like that. And it ain't a good look because I'm still married to you. I'm just like, that's a little too fresh. So he gonna stay hidden. But around that time, right before, I think that same night he came in, or around that same time, here she's sitting up here right before he said that, like the day before he said this comment when they talking over dinner. as soon as she seen Mark, because Mark does live like what 3 or 4 houses down the street, he always come take her trash out. And as soon as she seen Mark, she already just doing this and stuff. Just put him on the floor. Get on the floor. Get on the floor. Not exactly like that, but she panicked and told him to duck and explained who Mark was to him, but not about, of course, the whole each other because that's irrelevant anyway. But she was saying this was like, that's my neighbor, stuff like that, and we work together, that's my friend. And he was like, well, I can start taking out the trash and blah blah blah, because of course he was wondering, of course no one, like, okay, is that all I do is just taking out trash? And she was like, oh no, you ain't gotta worry about nothing happening, because he ain't looked this way. He didn't even experiment, okay, So I mean, she didn't say all that, I'm just paraphrasing, but I mean, she's basically like, no. Besides, David has a husband, so. But Mark, why not say David? Oh Lord, I did not just mean to say David. I meant to say Mark has a husband. David is the X-Man. Sorry, y'all. See, this is why I shouldn't be doing them so late. Anyway, so speaking of David, David kind of. It seems like based on the show, Mary Jane only got back with the husband because she was vulnerable and she still wanted to make it out with David. David was somebody she went with for a couple years, and for whatever reason they faded, and it's almost like she made a rebound with somebody else's man with kids. So anyways, um she ends up later on, like I said, when he tells her about he can't be seen with her, he let her know, like, well, you don't need to be talking. You hit me the other day down, in the corner of, near the cabinets and stuff in the kitchen. As soon as so nobody will see me, so you should be understandable about my side. But she's like, but I do want to change. He's like, I do want to change. You just don't have to wait. So, because she was hitting some of the family members, she was trying to hit to them there. So, here's making a long story short about the news segment part. Now, this one anchor person or journalist or whatever, he's been kind of falsifying some of his articles, and it turns out that his ex has recorded him admitting that he's fabricated some of the information. And he was basically talking about some of the corruption in the prison system or something like that, because he was saying about but he's been on the show. He's actually somewhat of a good friend. I mean, or good acquaintance at least to Mary Jane. I mean, she felt kind of hesitant because they get the scoop before they come out there, because this can ruin his reputation because he's fabricated information and sources about the so-called corruption. I think in the prison system or something like that. And so she ends up talking to him, and he first was saying like, that's not true. I can go somewhere else and do some news story or whatever, but you know me better than that. And then Carol found out that the evidence with the girlfriend that recorded that had actual recordings of him admitting to fabricating this information. And his job and everything and credibility is on the line if the story gets out. And he's pretty much screwed. So she ends up talking to him again and admitted that about the girlfriend knowing about the information, and it was taped. Because he's telling her, don't bring them, just bring an inmate or, somebody else on there, or correctional officer, stuff like that. But he's trying to basically ask her, please don't air this story or air about the truth about me fabricating anything. But he was like, this actually did benefit it because, now we have non-violent criminals or, non-threatening criminals. They're, being put in rehab. Like people who are dealing with addiction, stuff like that, they're being put in rehab instead of just being placed into the prison systems, and they're working community, or like people, basically like saying to help people that shouldn't really be like put into the prison system, because he figures like it's another form of slavery or something like that. I think along the lines of the saying, right? So he just like, you know what? This actually helped in the end for people, because in certain areas, certain states are making changes instead of just throwing people in the jail, even if they don't need to be in the jail. And he's like, he's like, this, please don't do this. So they don't show the segment, but they just say that he didn't come on there, and everybody's like, great job, because then she ended up actually saying, I guess, in that segment, because they never showed that the truth that he about, I guess, the story, about the story about him, that he did fabricate his stories. And so what happened after that is she felt so upset, because it's like here she has put somebody on display. And we all know it could be deeper than that, because here she is, could be put on display her own self. And it won't be, I don't know if it will be affecting credibility as a worker, but I mean, a lot of people be looking at her sideways and stuff like that if they knew she was having an affair with a married man. So, um, And so, especially of somebody who seemed to be liked and favored, like the financial advisor, she even was smiling on Obama. Okay, so I'm just saying, it's somebody that appears to be a favorable, likable person, right? So, anyways, she ends up going to the bathroom, and she's so upset that she ends up, hurling into, in one of the bathroom stalls, toilets. And Carol comes in and she's basically like, "It's okay, you had to tell the truth or whatever case." So she just felt kind of upset and guilty about putting him out there like that. And so to fast forward about this event thing. Now she goes there, and like I said, I already talked about the platinum table and stuff, whatever. She goes there and sits down and whatever, a little bit after a while. And David's also at the same thing. He actually gets, announced also by the mom too while they're talking about thanking people to contribute. And he's contributed so much considered, I think he's invested a lot, or that has something to do where he's made, his career in computers. And when he comes over to the table to say hi to everybody, her here go Paul like, "Hey, you got me hooking tickets. Just let me know which game." Here the dad's been advising him on some type of investment or something like that. The mom, got announced to everybody when she's on stage when they, announcing when they asked to come up to stage because she's one of the first people with like her heart is like with this particular charity. And she had to remind us, like, David, thank you for taking all this time. She's the one that actually announced stuff. You contribute so much, even though you don't have to in your time, and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. I wish I could welcome you to family. Hint, hint, basically, right? So she ends up sitting here, and afterwards, like I said, David first was just talking to her, and she noticed the cufflinks that she bought a couple years ago that he actually had on. And they're just talking about a couple of various, but he said they just were chatting up with everything, but he was just talking to see how it was doing, whatever. And because she got a text message from Andre, I think, between that time, that, send me snake pics if you can, whatever, if you're not busy, whatever, and she didn't respond to that. So she's up there in between where she was walking in between the hallway somewhere, right? But David had was somewhere around. I guess I don't know if she was getting some air or something. But she was just walking to another area, with all this stuff I told you previously was going on, with her family, with her brother, with whoever this mystery chick is and everything else. And after talking to David on the table a little bit. And so this dude comes up to her, right? It's one of those things is she felt it's one of those, you are backstabbing black men and stuff like that type of thing, right? So this dude comes up to her and he's like, "I seen a segment," and she was just like, "Well, thank you," and stuff like that. And the segment about, Terrence, whatever. And he's just like, "No, I didn't come here to thank you. Or, you came to put a black man down or whatever it's supposed. When the white man does it, nobody says nothing. He can just get away, stuff like that." And just basically make it seem like she basically, is a backstabber to the black community type of thing. She's just like, "Okay, whatever. I just reported what I had to report. He put himself in the situation, something along the lines," she said. And when she's trying to walk away, he grabs her arm. It's like, "Oh, we're not finished." She's like, "Oh, yes, we is." And he's, trying to check her. Then again, he tries to get her arm, when she's trying to leave or, get in her way, like on some, trying to check her. I don't know. He was trying to think he was going to throw hands on and stuff like that. But he seemed a little bit violent, a little too damn aggressive. So David, let him know, like, bro. Coming to him like, bro, you gone with that mess, whatever. And then, of course, that's when he had no problem backing off, once he was saying that, "Man, we ain't about to do this here. We ain't doing this thing for appropriate time, appropriate taste, whatever. In other words, maybe that might have been directly like, "You know what? I don't feel like being your ass tonight because you ain't about to put hands on her," or whatever. So they end up dancing because first he asked her to dance, whatever, because I know in between the time also he went to go, I think that's when he go into his friend. That's when the person confronted him. Like I said, and anyways, so they end up dancing, and I guess you could see the feelings start to come back because it was weird. First they were dancing, and it was a jazz version of Gin and Juice, which was quite interesting because it was just rolling down the street. So anyways, y'all. Then another song comes on, an instrumental jazz version, "There Goes My Baby," and I guess it was one of their favorite songs. She was like, "Oh Lord, is this really coming on now?" type of thing. And then he said, "I tried to call you a couple weeks ago," and she was like, "Okay." You try to go what it's for. And he said, "I want to know before you heard it in the streets." Once he said, like, "I want you to know before you heard it in the streets," you already knew it was going to be not too pleasant. And then he ends up telling her that he's seeing somebody And even though it's been a couple months, it's moving out pretty fast. She asked me like, how fast? She's like, y'all living together? Girl, you just detached yourself from that whole other situation that you got at home. And he's just like, when she's in town, and she just after that she walked off right off the dance floor, whatever, and she tuned out everybody. You just heard when she was zooming out. You just heard wah 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 wah. Even her doctor friend, because her doctor friend was there, and separate from Miss my vagina's missing you, whatever. Um, because she's told in the bathroom in between right after she first was talking to David. She's like, when are you gonna stop playing again? You know, 38. I don't know if she was saying Mary Jane was still in there or David or both of them were. She's like, basically, like, you got the whole package, the family license, blah, blah, blah. Like, basically David is a good catch and he seems to be into you type of thing. She had one of them type of talks with her. But, I think Dr. Lady, was trying to track her down. Everybody just saying, okay, where you go? She just tuned everybody. You just hear one, 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 one. And she just tuned out and she went home. And then it turns out, Andre was there. He was like, yeah, so you want to dance? Blase, blase with him. She's like, no, I'm tired. You look like you're tired. You can tell, she was just like ready to go to sleep. And then she goes to the bathroom. She stares at the mirror, and you see these tears running down. And she actually, I guess, a part of her, maybe if David was serious, maybe she was expecting when David said, basically I have something to tell you, because he was kind of like hesitant, but she was really waiting for him to say he loved her, and maybe, who knows, might have left Andre right then and there for the fact of David, because when David hurt her, she ended up taking back Andre, which, like I said, it's like Andre is already, it's a functional anyway, because like I said, I still I can't be sorry for Mary Jane, because it's like, you mess with somebody, I mean, it's kind of sad, but it turns out she really did give a damn about David. And now she's trying to make it work in a messed up situation she has no business being in. So Andre, she's sitting on the side, of the tub or jacuzzi or wherever it is, of the shower, a bathroom rather. And he just leans on her like, support on her back, like, just leans on, when basically was sitting on the side of her, and he was just like, you know what, I'll be the gal next time. He see her crying, and he thinks she's crying because of him. No, her heart is broken. The dude she really wants to be with over you, despite, she had a business mess with your ass. He basically let her know, like, he is possibly the one that got away. And that's how pretty much it ends. And then we see again the previews of 2 more weeks. There's 2 hours season finale. And that's how it ends, people. Y'all have a pleasant week, a pleasant night, pleasant weekend. Thank you for all my old subscribers, supporters, my YouTube fam, YouTube buddies fam, and thank you for new subscribers, and rate, like, subscribe. And I will definitely see y'all in the next video. Y'all take care and have a good night. Bye bye.